Welcome everybody. So this training is called Creating Your Free Offer. And I'm going to walk you through all of this. Now, it is independent towards your overall business, but it's one of the core component needed in order to build a digital online business. So let me just go through with you what we want to learn today, right? So the first thing is that as a newbie approach, so to speak, we want to determine what is a free offer. And the reason we want to do this is because we don't want some people have different understanding, different definition of this, so that when we do the coaching, everybody understands it's at the same thing. So it's basically, it's a product that you can give away for free to generate email subscribers. So when we talk about email subscribers, they can also be referred as leads. So it depends on the business model. Some of them are called leads, some of them are called email subscribers and so on, because sometimes we need to have a bigger list, sometimes we need to have a small list. Again, it depends on your business model. And all of this will sort of unveil by itself as you go through the coaching, right? So today, we're just going to cover one of the component of the entire system. So we now understand that what is a free offer? A free offer is none other than a product that you are going to give away so that someone will exchange that with an email address with you, right? Now, with that, right, the product that we are referring here, it should be a digital product. Why? Because if we are not charging for it, and if you do a physical product, that's going to be way too costly, and that's not something that is feasible, something that makes sense at all for a business to be profitable. So keep in mind that the free product that we're offering here has to be a digital product for that aspect. So let's understand a bit further why we are doing this, right? So a successful digital business is built based on two things. One, your database, and the other one is your brand. The entire coaching program, or put it this way, the entire digital business of any experts or any company actually just based on these two things. So I'm simplifying it to you so that you can understand so much easier that you can almost forget about everything as long as you understand that every single day, it is all about working towards two of these. That's it. If any action that you're doing is not gearing towards you building your database or building your brand, it simply means that you are not working to build a business. It means that you are, lack of a better word, you're just wasting time doing something else that doesn't help to contribute towards the business if you are building a digital online business. Now, why is this so? Because with database, it allows you to reach your prospects at any time. So if we have an online business, a digital business, right? The main thing is that we must have this capability that if we have an offer, if you want to sell a product, we must be able to reach our database at any time. So companies like, let's talk about really big companies. Let's talk about billion-dollar companies like Amazon, right? They have database, and that's how they are so successful. Facebook has database, and that's why they are so successful. Google has database, and that's where Gmail is all about, right? So I'm not just talking about the typical internet marketing business. Even if you look at the macro view, every successful business in the online business element, in the sense that we are not a factory, we're not like producing wood or producing computers, we are not that, we are online business. And if you look carefully, online business is all about the database that it has. Companies like WhatsApp and so on, they're all evaluated based on their database, right? Because the database allows you to reach your prospect at any time you want. Now, just think about it this way, right? If you have a business that, hey, you need to sell something right now, you are able to press a button and reach your prospect. Now, that literally solves your marketing problem. You see where I'm coming from? Rather than say, hey, you know what? I have a product. I have this thing to sell, but I don't have a database. So how are you going to get started right now? Right? You got to go and figure out how to run ads and everything else, right? So now we understand that. The second part, of why the element of brand is so important is because the brand helps you to convert the sales. So if you have a brand, although it's not necessary, but if you have a brand, it simply means that you get to work less, and in fact, your conversion increase much more higher. So for instance, let's take an example. Let's take me, for instance, right? So you invested in this program, right? Because one of the reasons I would assume is because you trust my brand. Now, I'm not saying this from a standpoint of egoistic, but I'm just sharing this from a standpoint of marketing understanding, right? Now, if I don't have a brand, don't you think that I need to work much more harder to say, hey, this program is amazing, you should join and all this kind of stuff, right? If you notice, I don't really need to work that hard to actually offer this program. But when I offer this program, I would have students who would want to enroll. And that's because I've been building my brand for almost 2 decades right now. Now, it goes the same for every single thing that we buy in our life, right? Especially apparels, like some of you are wearing like nice t-shirts and so on. Let me see. All right. So the clothing that you wear, because of the brand, it has higher conversion because you see that brand, you buy that. And also it fetch a higher price. So if you have database, if you have accumulated database, right, which is not that hard, but the harder part is that to let this database trust you, to have this database acquainted with you, that's where the brand part comes in. Right? So if you don't have the brand, you have this database, it means that you're going to make less money compared to having the brand. Right? So I'm breaking it down to so simplified way because this is class 1 and I want you to understand the basic framework of how we're going to grow from here. Now, when we talk about brand, it is not about, I need to become like a best-selling author. I need to be a doctor. I need to have case studies of 100 students. I'm not referring to that. Right? And brand definitely doesn't mean how you look like, right? It doesn't mean that at all. So that's why all these so-called branding gurus teach about, you got to look this way, look that way, and they said that's branding. But look at me, I'm wearing a t-shirt here right now, right? I'm not even fancy, I'm not in a fancy office and so on. But will that really make any difference? No, right? Because the brand is all about what you deliver. So write that down. The brand is all about what you deliver. So people don't really care about how you look, and all this kind of stuff. What really matters is that you can deliver what you want to deliver. See, brand to me is about you being able to do what you claim that you can do. So don't get yourself complicated or nervous and say, I got to look good. I got to face the computer. I mean, the camera. I got to do all this. I got to be a polished speaker. Not related to that, right? When it comes to brand, of course, throughout this coaching program, we're going to be coaching you, teaching you, and things like that. You're going to be pro after that. That's why it's called newbies to expert coaching. Is that you will start to be able to be the icon, or should I say the brand that your market trusts. And that's what we want to achieve, right? So now we understand this part. This is where the free offer comes to the picture further. So what do we want is this. We want to create a free offer to achieve both of these. So we don't want to just have a free offer so that, someone will just give us an email and so on, right? We don't want to do that because having database alone serve not much purpose if they do not know who you are. Just try to think it this way. I'm pretty sure that you may have come across or someone who say, hey, pay me like $50 and I'll give you 100,000 database or something like that, right? Is that useful? Of course, it is not useful because they don't know you. That is a useless database, right? We need to do it in a way that when they get this free offer from you, they are also knowingly that they're getting from you, right? From you as in the brand. So how can we create a free offer that can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, right? And your objective today in today's class is to learn how to come up with a good offer. You're not here to learn how to write a book. You're not here to learn how to record a video. You're not doing all of those. Those are all different kinds of trainings that we will have for you to train you technically and also, of course, through the concept itself, right? But this is not a training. This training is just to learn, right? If you can learn how to come up with a good offer, half of your problem would be solved. So let's continue from here. We're going to learn all of this today. First, should you hire or do it yourself? If you're going to have a free offer, should you do it or you get someone else to do it for you? We're going to learn what would the offer be? Like, what is it that they actually get? What is this free product that they're going to get, right? And then the format of the offer, the product itself, what are they actually receiving? And then the content, what is the content of the free offer? Now, of course, I'm not telling you what is the exact content because in different niche market, the content will be totally different. But I'm going to share with you like what kind of content should be inside this free offer. So again, remember, my goal is you can understand what I'm training today. You know, if you can get like 70, 80%, that is perfect, right? My goal here, it is not to overwhelm you with as much information as possible. Again, because we have 1 year to work together with. You see where I'm coming from? So we're not going to touch things like, Patrick, how are we going to hire someone, right? We're going to have a separate class just on that topic alone. We're not going to do everything in one shot. And one of the things that I've learned is that it's almost impossible for someone to attend, say, a 2 days workshop without continuous coaching or support to be able to remember what they have learned in that 2 days. They will just attend that and probably forget what to do next, right? Because there will be too much information. So the first thing that we want to learn is, should you hire or do it yourself? Now, I can understand some of you could be busy and you may want to outsource on getting someone to do it for you, which is one of the possible options. However, when you first get started, I'm going to suggest to you for the first round, you should do it yourself for the purpose to learn. Now, it doesn't mean that when you do it yourself, it's going to be the end product. You want to do it yourself so that you learn. And if you're not satisfied with it and then you're going to hire someone, with all means, you can do that. Of course, I cannot force you to do this, but I would highly, highly recommend that the first round, you do it yourself, right? Here's the fact. The fact is that if you want to be successful in internet marketing business, now I know there are gurus or these internet marketing experts who tell you, oh, you don't have to learn this, you don't have to do that, you can become rich, you can make money, all this kind of stuff. But I can also tell you that they know how to do stuff. All right. So whatever they're saying to you, it is not 100% accurate for them. They are telling you that you don't need to know, but they know how to do it. Kind of controversial of what message they're telling you, right? So it's up to you whether you want to believe or not. Because for you to get started in the beginning, you must be able to know some basic stuff. This is the reality that we cannot escape from. Like, for instance, right? We're going to have a training class on how to edit web page. So we cannot say that, hey, you know what? I'm going to just hire someone to do all the web page. Yes, you can, but it doesn't make sense because let's say you're going to edit something right now, right? And you don't even know how to do that. And you need to wait 24 hours to change the word is to was. It doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense. Or you don't like the color and then it says, you know what? I don't like this purple color. I got to change to blue. Oh, I do not know how to do that. So I got to send to my tech support. I want to wait 24 hours. And the fellow is busy on the date or something. I got to wait 3 days to change the purple color to blue color, right? It's impractical. So today, it's very different when it talks about technical stuff compared to my time. I mean, 2 decades ago, how to do web page and how to do web page today is very, very different, right? And there's no technical things at all. It's actually learning how to use software. So it's very different. Last time, yes, you got to know some technical stuff, you got to know some HTML. Today, it's all about being patient and just watching some video tutorials, and you will be able to do what other people you want them to do, right? So trust me, it is very doable. For instance, when we have a class to teach you about, say, setting up your autoresponder, right? Your follow-up emails and so on. We'll teach you the steps, right? But in terms of the technical stuff, please don't feel like, this is too technical for me, because if you really try and do it, you will soon realize there's nothing technical about it, because it's all about operating a software, right? Now, when you do it by yourself, you know the flow. And when you know the flow, it's easier for you to hire someone to actually do it, right? So let's say you want to create a video product, right? Then you may want to dabble around to try to play and do that video yourself, try to edit here and there. And later on, right, because you want to save time, you can hire someone to do it for you, and you don't have to do it. But it's good that you have done it yourself. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. Okay, so that is the first part that we're going to cover. This is quite self-explanatory, so we can just skip this. So what would the offer be? So here we have a free offer that we're gonna put on the internet, right? Forget about how does the web page looks like and so on. We haven't even reached that stage, because this first 8 weeks is learning. We're not building yet, right? So we're gonna put out this free offer, and then when they see what this is, why would they want to give you their email address in exchange, right? So let me share with you the typical ones, the common ones that you see in the market: an ebook, all right, a video course, a webinar. So these are the common ones that you see that marketers are using. Oh, okay, register your name and email to get a free ebook, register your name and email to get a free video course, or register your name and email to register for our webinar, right? So these are the common ones. However, based on my experience, if I was to coach my students, I would not want them to do any of this. Because remember, our goal is to build database and also to build brand. This will give you less database and will also give you less exposure towards your brand. Let's look at the ebook, right? How many people actually download an ebook and actually finish the entire ebook? Not many people actually do that, right? I mean, there are a few, but not many people. If a physical book, maybe, but ebook, I can't remember which ebook I've actually finished reading from the first page to the last page. I can't remember, honestly. And a webinar, it is so common nowadays. Webinar sounds more like a preview to sell a product than delivering content. So how many people would you want to register for a webinar where it is not really a content-driven stuff? So this is what I would prefer to have. Now I'm teaching you this, but I'm not expecting you to do any of this at all, right? But it is my responsibility to tell you what we are currently using that can convert well, right? You won't have any of these because you start as a newbie. But if you have any of these, then it's a plus point, right? So the first one is live event. So we are building database and build our brand by giving an entire live event right now. So there's a lot of cost, there's a lot of work and so on. This is called leveling up. So just put it this way, if my competitor is giving a webinar and I'm here saying, hey, you register with us, I'll give you 2 days of live seminar. And you want to give like a 90 minutes webinar, who do you think wins the game, right? Recordings of live events. So live events always have a higher, you can call it perceived value, a higher value. Because when it's live events, it is always more interesting and deemed to be valuable because live event is associated with someone paying to be inside a live event, like a workshop, right? So we do this like recordings of say 2 hours of my speaking engagement or when I'm doing a workshop and so on. Or the other one is a complete course. So rather than giving a video, I'm saying that, hey, you know what? If you register, I will give you my entire course for free, like a 5 modules course and so on. So this is what will give you the best results, as in like higher conversions, and also to build your brand. Why you build your brand? Because when it comes to live events, you are interacting with them. They're seeing you live. They're not seeing some like faceless video or something like that, right? recordings of live events, the same thing. When you are a speaker and you're presenting, right, that automatically elevates your authority and your credibility. And a complete course definitely has a higher value because it seems like this is a paid course, but now giving away for 100% free. Now, these preferred ones, 1, 2, 3, it is not something that you want to do right now if you do not have any of this, right? But you want to keep this, you want to write it down as your notes, that it is something that you can do in the future when you're ready. So for the newbie to experts coaching to get started for a free offer, my suggestion is called series of training. Now, some of you may have seen me doing this, right? Series of training. This will help you to get much more conversion and also look like, which is not look like, but it is actually providing real content and not some silly pitch. Like for instance, let's take a classic example of the webinar. Now, when you need to offer a webinar, you know what they're thinking? Oh man, this guy gonna try to sell me some stuff again, right? You've seen that, right? It's like a pitch, right? But a series of training, it is very different. Series of training, it means that I'm actually doing the training for you. And I don't expect you to buy anything, but this is called series of training. So this series of training, the one that I've launched is the newbie series that we have launched successfully. We sold a lot of that and we built thousands of database by doing 10 classes for free. I'll go more in depth about that later on. But that has been our so-called lead generator even until today. Very, very powerful. So this concept of series of training, what does it mean? It simply means that what we are giving to them, the free offer is this. Hey, if you register with us, or in this case, register with you, right? Just your email address, I'm going to give you series of training to master this specific topic. Not just one class, but a series. So now the value automatically increase so much more compared to say a video course. And this series of trainings could be classes, could be workshops as well. And I will go more in depth in the next slide right now. The format of the product, which is the offer. So now we understand the concept of the series. And I will share with you the content that you can put in the series. But right now we're going to talk about the format of the offer itself. So if it's going to be a video, it's going to be called video classes, which means that it's going to be a series of video classes. And if you are someone who is more comfortable not doing video. Now, by the way, just so you know, time out for a while, right? Again, we are just in the beginning right now. So if you are thinking video because I need to go live like what Patrick is doing, stop. I'm not saying to do it that way. You with me? We are just on this beginning chapter. There are many ways to deliver the video classes, right? We're going to do more training on how to achieve all of this. So what we just want to so-called confirm right now, or should I say that we want to decide is that, are you more of a video person or a typing person in that sense? It doesn't mean that you need to do a live stream training this way. Okay? We're not at a building phase, right? It is about learning the right strategy and learning whatever information that we need to learn in order to succeed with a digital online business. Not trying to learn more, but learning what we need to learn. So now, if it's going to be a video classes, then in the same process is that, hey, you know, we sell our classes for a 12-month subscription for $99, but we're going to give you 4 classes for free right now. So that kind of angle, right? I mean, you can use it that way if you want to. It doesn't mean that you have. We're going to talk more about that when we talk about the web page, the conversion, the sales copy, and so on. Now, the content of the free offer, how do we actually do this content? Now, of course, you have to first decide the niche market that you want to get into. If you haven't decided that yet, don't stress yourself, right? Don't worry about it, you know, go with something that you're comfortable with. Now, after all, you can always change if you want to change later on. So don't feel like, oh, you know, I must do this forever and things like that. right? Don't pressure yourself in that sense, right? And if you are more comfortable in, say, in Chinese or in Malay, in Bahasa, right? Then you can build this entire business for the local market in Bahasa or in Chinese, and that's still okay. Do what is comfortable for you, right? This is the learning phase. Now, you can always change later on. And as you learn more, you will start to learn, oh, what are the things that you do wrong? What are the things that you do right? And then you can improve from there. But if you don't decide something and get started, there's no opportunity for you to do right or to do wrong. Therefore, you cannot learn, you cannot progress, right? So decide one later on, maybe somewhere this week, okay? So the way how you do it is this, right? The free offer, you're going to target just for the newbies market. Now, what do I mean by that? Regardless of whether you're an expert or not, don't trouble yourself teaching someone who is not a newbie at this moment of time. And there are many reasons, right? I can just tell you upfront two reasons. One, most of them will have ego, and it's just way too much work for you to deal with them at this moment of time. That's the first one, right? The second reason is that if you were to train newbies, right, you don't feel any pressure whatsoever. Now, some of you are not newbies in terms of the topic, right? I mean, like for instance, I think Linda is involved with parenting children and so on, and she's not a newbie for that topic, right? But in terms of building the online business, she's a newbie for that. So it is easier that she would want to focus on the newbies market in the sense of those who wants to learn about parenting or taking care of children and so on, who are also newbies, right? Like for instance, right? Like I can teach experts, I can teach newbies and so on, but I also choose to teach newbies. It doesn't mean that I'm a newbie. You're with me, yes? I want you to understand this, right? It's about selecting your market so that it's easier for you to grow your business and to dominate the market, so to speak. And the most important part is that probably the newbie market, it could be more profitable for you because it's going to be larger market. Whatever topic that you're in, trust me, is that the newbie market will usually take maybe 80% of the entire market or 70%. I mean, nobody has done the research, but I can more or less tell you that based on my experience, if I ask 10 people, 8 people will say they're the newbies, right? So I'm going to take that as a benchmark, which means that if you want to make more money, hey, you know what? You should be focusing on the newbies market for that matter because the audience is just bigger, right? So when you go into the market, the strategy is this, is that you go for a mainstream market. For instance, say personal growth as a mainstream market, but you're not going to teach 10 ways to achieve success because then that will be a mainstream topic. I'm going to speak a bit slower so that you can catch this strategy clearly. If I go inside the personal growth market, the mainstream market, and say, hey, I'm going to teach 10 ways to achieve success, then I'm going to be competing with Robin Sharma, I'm going to be competing with John Maxwell, I'm going to be competing with Tony Robbins, I'll be competing with all of these people, which will be very, very hard for me to win the game. So I want to go into the mainstream market, but I don't want to be positioning myself with the free offer that is based on mainstream topic. So the way how you get into a niche market, the mainstream market, is to go in with a unique solution where you're not competing directly with them and you create your own market, but you are able to get in the mainstream market. Now, you always want to build your business in the mainstream market and not in a niche market or nano niche market. For instance, if I want to get into the pets niche, I wouldn't want to go into, say, I'm just gonna make this up, right? I must think of one golden retriever dog on how to keep. I'm not going to serve the market for only golden retriever dogs that are puppies. I wouldn't want to do that. That's called a micro niche market in that sense. I don't want to go into the golden retriever dog market. That would be a niche market. I want to go into the dog niche market, the mainstream market, so that I can cover as many people as possible, right? But if the market is too big, for instance, wellness, now I cannot go into a wellness niche because I cannot target my prospect because wellness is too broad, right? So I got to decide what kind of wellness it is. So for instance, wellness for building immune system, for instance, right? Okay, that's it. That will be my niche market. Wellness for looking young. That's it, done. So if I want to go like super niche market, I would say, okay, wellness, looking young for women below, not above 40 years old, right? I don't want to get into that niche market. It will be too narrow for me in that sense, right? But I can go into the mainstream niche market with a very unique approach. So let's take the wellness example again. I could say, okay, for those who are interested about wellness and to boost immune system, I have a secret formula where you can use vegetables, just vegetables to achieve that. You see where I'm coming from? It is a solution. It is not a niche market. So, which means if you, so long that you like to increase your immune system in a wellness niche market, you will be interested to know what kind of vegetables can help you to achieve that. That's one example, right? So I'm thinking of topics that is unique so that I'm not competing with the mainstream people. So if I go into personal growth, right, I could say that, all right, okay, so I'm going to teach you about achieving success, but I'm going to teach you one specific way to achieve more success in life, which is none other than mastering leadership. And mastering leadership in what way? Mastering leadership in how you can be in charge of your own self to lead and to take action to achieve the success. You see, if I do it this way, I have something that is unique where now I can compete with everybody else. Because now I'm no longer competing based on what are all my medals and my trophies at the back. But now I'm going in with the solution that I have and what makes me different than everybody else. And the thing that makes me different than everybody else, it is none other than my answers, my solutions. Not because I have spoke to 1,000 people, I have been on stage with Tony Robbins, not all of those, but my formula that you want to know. So once you understand this concept, then you're going to do it this way. So it is as simple as this. The 10 ways to achieve whatever you want to achieve by using these specific methods. Now, this is not what you say in your webpage, but this is for your understanding. 10 ways will be replaced with whatever numbers of ways, depending on how many so-called weeks of series that you want to give to them. So let's say, if you are more hardworking, if you want to build, let me just put it this way, right? Success is very straightforward in a sense that whoever who is willing to do the more work will achieve more success, right? So what I'm trying to say is this, whether it's 10 ways or 4 ways or 6 ways, it's up to you how much work you want to put inside. Obviously, if you do 10 ways, then it's going to be more impressive. Just think it this way, right? If someone wants to see a free offer and says, hey, I'm going to give you 10 video classes as a series every week, compared to 4 video classes every week. Of course, the one that says I'm giving you 10, by logic, will give you higher conversion because you're willing to give more. You're willing to put in more work. So again, success equation, it is so easy. And that's where most people mess up, because success equals to work, doing more work. And many people just couldn't bear with that, and they just don't do that. And then, they cannot achieve success. They just don't understand that after you do the work, after you do the 10 classes, it is there forever. There's no additional work anymore. It's a one-time off thing. Like my newbie series, I've created that long time ago. Wow, it is hard. I mean, I gotta find time and do it. There's like 10 hours of training, but I take my own sweet time because I just do one a week. But now it is all done. It is now working for me permanently. I just created my own assets. And that allows me to have some kind of automation at the back running, right? Is it worth it? Yes. Now, but it doesn't mean that you need to follow what I did, right? 10, I would say, would be the maximum in that sense. If you want to do less, I would say that you would strive for 4 or 5, right? This is so-called the nice number. Why 4 is nice? Because it is 4 weeks. The mind thinks it that way. 4 weeks, because 4 weeks is a month, right? Or 5 is just a very nice number for that method. So let's say it's the 5 ways to achieve success by mastering self-leadership, for instance. The 10 ways to boost your immune system for your wellness by using the natural food you can find at home, right? The 8 ways obedience training for children by using the vocal technique. Again, I just made that up. All right, I just pulled that from thin air like a few seconds ago, right? So you will have the different types of methods, and don't worry if you don't have that. I'm going to teach you how shortly. So now you sort of understand where I'm coming from right now. Mainstream market, but by using specific formula, specific technology that is full of a curiosity, in a sense that they want to know what it is. What do you actually have, right? They want to learn, because Tony Robbins doesn't talk about self-leadership. What in the world is that, right? So some other wellness guru doesn't talk about how can you increase immune system by just using the food that's available in your house, right? So this is where it makes you different, and that's where it makes people want to follow you. Now, a good offer is defined when they will be willing to pay for it. So if you created this and then you're wondering, is this good or not? It's very simple. You need to ask yourself, if you were to charge these 10 video classes, right, for say $10 or whatever price point is, right? Would you think that they will be willing to pay you for that, for $10? Now, if you cannot justify that, it means that your offer, it is not good yet. So that's where it needs to be improved. If you say that, yeah, it's a no-brainer, who would not pay $10, to overcome this? Who would not pay $10 to learn all these secrets on how they can achieve more success, they can be more efficient, and so on? Then you know that you have the right offer right now. So let's talk about these 10 ways a bit more elaborated. So it has to be based on a specific method that you want to give to them. Now, I'm just going to make an example right now. Let's say we are using the same formula earlier. We talked about the 10 ways to achieving success by using self-leadership, right? So now you need to figure out what are the 10 things that contribute to self-leadership. Now, that word may not even exist. I just made that up for today's class, okay? So what are 10 ways? Now, these 10 ways are actually your own definition. You see where I'm coming from? You are the one who creates that. So you can say self-leadership is about modeling someone, right? Modeling another leader. Self-leadership could be waking up early in the morning. Again, I'm just making this up. I'm just randomly going through, right? So let's say it's about waking up early in the morning, right? Let's say that is one of the video series. Then the entire training is about how to wake up early and be fresh. We're not going to go inside the content of it, right? Because everybody's content will be different. And talking about researching for content, that is like another class by itself. Are you with me? Yes. We are not deciding that, right? We're just deciding the topics. So just now we're talking about modeling other leaders. So that whole video class is just teaching about how to model other people, right? So let's talk about the 10 ways to boost immune system by eating the food that you have in your house. Very simple. Let's say it's 10 ways. The first one, we talk about water, right? How to drink the right water. And that is one issue of its own. The other one is how to cook your fish. I'm just making this up, right? Okay. That would be like one issue. The other one, what kind of fruit you should eat every week. Well, that is one issue by itself. The other one, when you bathe, how long you should bathe, what kind of shampoo you use, that is one topic on itself. Fifth, your biological clock. How do you follow your biological clock so that you improve your immune system? That is an issue by its own. You see where I'm coming from? How easy is that? So all this issue could be 10 pages long. It can be even just 5 pages long. Doesn't really matter. You don't want it to be too long because nobody had the time to read it anyway. Now, the final part that I want to bring up here is why we do the series. It is not just that we can increase the conversion to get more prospects, because when we do a series, it becomes more valuable. But it is actually going to help us to improve our brand. Why is it so? Guess what? If you do, say, video class, let's say you do 6 video class, let's say, right? The likelihood for them to be connected with you will be so much more higher if they watch a video 6 times compared to watching it 1 time. Because the more they see you, the better your brand is going to be. Does that make sense? Like every one of you here, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, this is not the first product that you buy from me. Is it fair for me to say that? That whether you buy a book or you buy a course or attend a seminar or something, this is not the first so-called, like, it's not like, hey, you know what, I saw this and I decided that I want to join a coaching program. It didn't happen this way. Because could be the second time, the third time, and so on, right? Now, what I'm trying to explain to you is that when you do a series, the more encounter your prospect sees you, the likelihood that your conversion will be higher because now they know you. When I say they know you, they sort of know you. They never talk to you, they never see you, but the more they read your stuff, your flow, they kind of know how you work, how you move, how is the flow. The more they watch you, the more they can connect with you, right? And of course, when they see a live person, it doesn't have to be live, right? It can be a recorded version, as in like moving, like live is a video. The more they do that, the more human you are. So this is why this is very powerful. This is why this will actually help you to so-called elevate up and be very different than your competitor who just want to do a sloppy job or putting on some stuff and say, yeah, here's a free ebook, right? I'm just going to record some video and just going to throw for you a video, right? Now, you're not going to do those sloppy stuff if you want to get the best results. Okay? All right, so now these are the action lists that I hope that you will do this week once you finish this training. You want to decide your format, whether you want to do in print, which means that the newsletter style, or you want to do the video style. Now, the video style could be live, could be recorded, could be a webcam style, could be tutorial style. All of those will be covered in the future, right? So you just need to decide the format that you want to go with. Next is the title of your series. Just think of something, just have fun with this. There's no stress, no pressure, just have fun with it, right? We're going to be brainstorming further from here. Think of the title of your series. Think of about 3 to 5 titles. So before you go to sleep, you just want to think about it. When you take shower, you're going to think about it. Just think of that. And then we can brainstorm further, right? So what will it be called for your free offer? And the last one, the quote unquote 10 topics. Now, it doesn't have to be 10, right? I don't want you to misunderstand that when you use the word 10, it must be 10, right? It can be 4, it can be 5. If 10 it's too much, but you still want to do your best, then do it as 8, right? But if you feel that, hey, it can be too taxing for you, then just do it at 4 or 5. But keep in mind that when you are doing this, right, you don't have to do it immediately, because the way how does the series work is by week. So the reality is that, right, you actually have 1 week to prepare one. So you have ample of time to actually get it done, right? So if you're wondering, can I do it or not? I just want you to know that when I do it, I don't do all at once. I take my time. I took like 1 week for just one. And when it's all done, then it's all be pre-recorded, right? It's like they're accessing the recording of it. And that's where I can focus on marketing, upsells, and all this kind of stuff. So the last one is, you want to have this answer. Do you have the answer why they'll be willing to pay for it? And this is the most challenging part of all. You got to be answering to yourself. It's like, would they pay for it or not, right? So this goes back to the 10 topics that you decide. Immune system, how to drink the right water, how to cook the right food, all this kind of stuff, right? Will someone pay to learn all of this? And not a lot of money, just $10, right? Right. So I'm going to trust you on that, as that you're going to decide yourself, right? If you say someone will pay you for that, I'm just going to agree with it, right? So this is so-called your action list. Doable, yes? All right, so that wraps up for today's training class. We'll have weekly training class, right? Any questions anyone have so far? So can I use my current recorded live training as series of it? Definitely you can do that. It is just how you position that. So the so-called action list, the 10 topics, can you extract your current recorded training as in specific for that topic? So let's say, right, I'm just going to continue with leadership for the sake of discussion easier, right? So let's say the overall thing is to achieve leadership, right? Then there must be 10 different ways of achieving leadership, assuming we're choosing the 10. It doesn't have to be the 10, right? And each of these extraction that you have should cover one specific methodology. So what is the length or how long the video recommends? Good question. Now, the way how I look at it, you should just keep it like 30 to maybe 40, 45 minutes long, and that's about it. If it's not a live class, it can be even shorter. But we're not going to talk about the curation of it yet at this moment, like should we do live, should we not do live, and so on, all right? So we will wrap up for today's class, right? And I will see you all again in the future. Take care, everybody, and bye for now, all right?